Welcome back to the Raleigh Oaks Baseball Club. Here on OOTP 25, we are here at the All-Star break in 2045. And you know what that means? That's when we take a look at things and see what we're really going to do here at this trade deadline upcoming here in a couple weeks at the end of July. You can tell that we are doing good once again, just based on the amount of All-Stars we have. We have 7 total All-Stars this season. Those are following Wilson Morales in the rotation, Jameer Clyte in the bullpen, Luis Carmona in the bullpen, and then when it comes to position players, we have ourselves Santiago Tapia here at second base. We have Luis Rodriguez in left field, Vince Yates is an outfielder, and then also Luis Griego has made the team as well. Taking a look at the expanded standings around the league, we currently have a plus 135 run differential sitting at 65 and 34, 8.5 games in front of the St. Louis Cardinals for that first spot in the Southern Division. Currently on a W2, still absolutely destroying left-handed pitching. Really good at home, really good on the road. And we don't have the best run differential. We only have a only plus 135, but still really good, obviously. And then the top is our former team, the Los Angeles Angels, with a plus 155. And they're actually -7 on their Pythagorean, which is pretty insane. That's one of the worst ones I've seen. Didn't we have a year like that with the Angels, I want to say we had a year where we were really got screwed on the Pythagorean over an entire season. We did indeed. I knew there was a year we had like that. In 2035, we had a -10 Pythagorean. We were projected 95. That was the year we missed the playoffs. Yes, because we had this big run of making the playoffs. I was like, we're not going to miss the playoffs again. And then boom, we missed the playoffs because we had a really poor year with a -10 Pythagorean. I knew we had a year like that. But taking a look at the team stats page, you can see here, it's just been pretty steady rolling most of the season here. April was fine. May, we were on fire, 25 and 4. And then here in June and July, pretty steady in June. And then here 11 and 5 so far in the month of July. Lots of really good numbers you're seeing here, but also some weird numbers too. Like we're seeing lots of ones here in the hitting. Second in batting average, fourth in OBP, fourth in runs scored, which is obviously the most important one. Top 5 in that, you'll take that. Top 4. We're not walking as much as we used to. Daniel Langarisa is back now, but still, for whatever reason, we are not drawing walks, but we're still getting on base. So I guess we're just getting a lot of hits. And we're still stealing a lot of bags as we do here in Raleigh. That's one of our things. We don't strike out. So, I mean, I guess if you're not walking, it's fine if you're still getting on base, because we are. And then when it comes to the pitching side of things, a lot of ones. Number 1 in overall ERA, 4th in starters, the best bullpen, least amount of runs allowed, the best WAR, hits allowed, opponent's average, BABIP, second best in least amount of home runs. And then we're walking too many guys still, but then we're striking out the best, and we had the best defense by quite a large margin, I'd imagine. Plus 44.3. Team zone rating is pretty insane. But, yeah, I guess we're just going to have to figure out this walk thing, and, just taking a look at our current staff, a lot of these new relievers we have are having walk issues. It appears. Like Juan Canis, for whatever reason, has a 13.3 walk percentage, even though he has a 50 control. There's really not anything I can do about that. It's not like we're telling him to go out there and pitch around a ton. He's just not performing up to standard. Mike Eberth, 45 control, not the most ideal, but I mean, you can do better than this. But he's also still been very effective, even with the 13% walk rate. Who else do we have here? Juan Orozco is probably the main issue when it comes to this. He's also giving up too many home runs, has a 14.2 walk percentage. But he's just, I mean, he's a guy that, that's what we expected with him. I just didn't think the other guys would have issues as well. And Orozco, we might have to send him down because he's pitched 47 in the third innings. That's not a small sample size. He just has not been able to get it down this year or get it figured out this year. And we still have the best bullpen in the league, so he's not hurting us too bad, and he's also in an avoid high leverage role, so it's not like he's in a super high leverage, anything like that, but I mean, maybe we set him down, maybe we don't, because we do have some guys throughout the minor leagues who we would want to get involved, but we also have guys that we have a full 40 man right now, so we'd have to make changes if we want to get somebody else involved. But once again, I really don't know what we're gonna do to quote unquote upgrade this team, because we're just at the point right now where we just have so many good players at like every position that like what could we possibly upgrade? Like, what are we going to do that's going to improve this team at the deadline? I guess you could maybe pick up another reliever just to be like, hey, might as well get another body in the bullpen. I guess we could do something like that, just pick up like a stud reliever on an expiring contract. That's something that I'm not opposed to doing. But I'm also not trying to trade the entire farm for anything right now either. So pitching, I think we're pretty set on. You can see right now that Broadhead is currently in the starting rotation. He has been solid in the rotation. He has 8 starts for us, and he is really damn good. So he's going to keep being there. We do have Jake Graham. The reason why he's in the rotation is because Jake Graham got hurt, and then we threw him on a rehab assignment, and he's about to come back from that. But when he comes back, he might be in the bullpen or we might move Sinkamani to the bullpen because he has been our one guy who just can't figure it out in the rotation. If we take a look at games started here, we have Mendoza, who's doing well. Morales is doing fine. Dickerson's doing fine. He's currently on fire, so he's starting to turn things around. Broadhead, we know, is really good. Sinkamani, I don't know what the deal is, man. He gets the extension in the offseason, and then he's like, oh, I'm going to suck now. All my ratings are going to dip down here this season after I sign my extension, and then I'm going to come into the year and just not be good. So, really unfortunate after this 3-year run that he had for us, but I guess it is what it is. His walks are up, his Ks are down, his home runs are up, his K minus walk is just dreadful. So we might have to move him to the bullpen and put Jake Graham into the rotation, at least until he gets hurt again with his wrecked injury proneness. I've also noticed that we have Josephat getting used a lot for saves, and I really don't like that because he hasn't been really that good. So we're going to take him off use more often. We're going to take him off stopper. And we're just going to leave him on sort of, I guess, maybe like a long relief role. And then we can probably have, we could just leave that the way it is. Maybe put this on setup instead of high leverage. Same sort of thing with Dusty here. Put that on setup instead of high leverage. Also, Juan Canes has not been getting the dub, so maybe take him off of that. We'll take them off that too. So yeah, we'll just leave those guys like that. And then one of these guys, probably a Roscoe, will go down when we bring Jake Graham back and move Sinkamani to the bullpen. But we have dudes in the system that we like. I'm still not opposed to picking up like a really good reliever, but that might be all we do at the deadline. Because if we take a look at the lineups here, we just have a damn good team. Like, what are we gonna improve? What are we actually going to acquire that's gonna start over somebody or even be better than one of our backups? So if we take a look at the depth chart, you can see here WRC plus. We have 8 guys in triple digits. We have 3 guys who are in the 90s, and Juan Ramirez and Amancio are guys who can just at any moment start going on fire here and turn things around and really start doing what we expect them to be doing, because those are not bad players. Obviously, Amancio just having a bit of a slump at the moment, but he's not a bad player, as we know. Juan Ramirez, same deal with him, in a bit of a slump at the moment, but he's liable to break out at any time, and also he's still stealing a ton of bags, providing a ton of value to the team that way. When it comes to the rest of the bunch, though, we're not going to be able to improve the DH spot, because we already have guys on the bench that we're playing Yates every 3rd game in center, every 5th game in right. We're playing him every 5th game in right over Griego, or with Griego. So Griego's not playing as much as he should be because we want to get Yates involved more, and we don't really have a spot because Langarisa's the DH, and obviously we're not going to have him not be the DH. I guess we could do a thing where maybe it's but I'd rather have Griego get time off because he's fragile than have Langarisa did not mean to do that, than have Langarisa have time off because he's the top of our lineup guy who gets on base and doesn't strike out. Really the only hitter that we have on the team that's been really disappointing has been Jesus Pineda here. You can see him all the way down at a 71 WRC plus, only a .4 WAR. He's still playing decent center field, but he's not quite doing what we thought he was going to be when he put up like this 5-WAR season for us when he came up and was just like a monster. Last year he was still really good defensively, just kind of slipped offensively, and this year just not doing anything. And we don't have Cooperman anymore, who's also wrecked. How is Cooperman even doing? That's where we traded him to the Texas Rangers, and he's currently out with knee tendonitis, and in the games that he has played, he was not good. So we could possibly just make the switch to have Yates play in center, but like also Yates isn't exactly the greatest center fielder. He's holding his own, but he's not like the most ideal center fielder of all time. And at the same time, if we're gonna put somebody in that spot who we think could be better, it's gonna be somebody we have in AAA, like a Chad Simonson, former second-round pick out of Rice University, who's just been working his way up the minor leagues here. High gap power guy with decent speed and can play all three positions. Good player to add to the mix here. We also have somebody like Andy Hunt who can play you really, really good defensive center field and be a really solid contact hitter with decent enough gap power, good speed profile, and then just give you like an elite center field. He's got a 3.7 WAR this season in AAA. He was in A-ball Honolulu last year and was absolutely dominant. You can see here he's got a 14.2 ZR in 72 games in center field. And then we still have a guy like Jaquan Eggerson, who obviously is not a center fielder, but is a guy who we could call up if we want another outfielder on the team. So, like, I don't think we want to go out and trade for an outfielder because we have these guys who we trust. And then one of the other guys who's been struggling at the moment is Vizcaino, who's playing every fourth game at shortstop against righties, and then he is the starting shortstop against lefties simply because he's a right-handed bat. We thought he was going to be pretty decent, but he has not been great this season. Caffin has been the much better shortstop. He's obviously hitting much better against righties than he is lefties, but he's getting the job done. He's being solid. That's what we expect from him. The thing about him, though, is his defense has not been great this season, but even despite him not being great defensively at short, we have so many guys who have been good defensively that it's kind of making up for him. Like Toppy has been really good at seconds. Obviously, Ramirez has won back-to-back Gold Gloves. We have the really good outfield, and Vizcaino, when he plays, has been good defensively with a 4.3 ZR. But if we wanted to try something else at shortstop, we do have the possibility of Tommy Medina here, the 24-year-old shortstop from Creighton University who we took in the 6th round in 2042. You can see here, very, very good defensive shortstop with some really good eye, decent contact BABIP avoid K gap power with some potential really good power that he could develop into here. He hasn't really flashed any of that so far in the minor leagues, but hopefully he can start to figure that out here. You can see his OPS numbers never really have been that impressive. He did have a decent like rookie ball year here and here, but ever since the higher levels, he has not really done too great with the bat. But defensively, Tommy Medina is a wizard at shortstop, although the numbers don't really say that, but he's being played all over the place, so he doesn't really have time to stick at shortstop and legit be a shortstop. But if we wanted to get somebody else involved at shortstop, he would be the guy that we go with. And then when it comes to relievers that we have in the system, this guy is the next man up. Right now, we did make the switch between Graham and Cinquemani. We sent down Orozco, but Moeldy Mullins here, he is absolutely going to be in the big leagues here at some point this season. I'll probably just throw him on AAA right now just to kind of get him some innings up there because he's been dominating AA. But this guy will be in the big leagues before the extra men on the roster come into play, so he's able to play in the postseason. He'll be on the 40-man before that deadline. Don't you worry. So yeah, the moral of the story here is I don't really know what we could possibly do to improve this team really all that much. I don't think there's going to be anybody out there who's going to be better than one of our starting players. If we do anything with the position players, it's maybe like adding, I don't even know what we would want to add, but it would be like a depth piece that we add who we think could add value to the team. But I think really it's just going to be a pitcher, like a reliever to add to the mix, and then we send down one of these guys. Maybe, I don't even know. Maybe Canis, who has all three of his options. Maybe he's the guy who goes down, but like we think he's really good, even though he hasn't been proving it this year. But he's definitely somebody who we think is going to be quite good for us. And then just taking a look at the current trade block, We have a couple options out there, one of them being old friend Juan Nazario, who is actually performing very poorly with the Boston Red Sox this season. His ratings are still really good, but he just, for whatever reason, has not been performing well for the Boston Red Sox. Giving up way, way, way too many home runs. He had a bit of a home run problem last year, too, but 2.9, that is ridiculous. If we take a look at his major league numbers here, he has never reached anywhere near 2.9, and he's never had a year this bad overall. So I don't know what they did to him, but his issue has never been performance. It's always been being able to stay on the field. But Bubba Parks, the man who I've been looking to possibly acquire for multiple seasons now, this might be our guy. I'll probably let this go through, but I still trust. I mean, he's having a down year, but this guy has been a really, really good back end of the bullpen pitcher for quite a while now here in Milwaukee. You take a look at his career numbers. He's been really good in Milwaukee. Before that, he was in Seattle, and he was pretty solid there. He even started his career in Arizona. I was not even aware of that. But Bubba Parks here, Bubba Sparks, so I nicknamed him that, he might be the guy we go with, especially because he's a lefty, and if we take a look at our current staff here, we do have a bit of a lack of lefties in the pen, because it's Holmes and Kleitz, who obviously are two key pieces, but we could use like a third lefty to add to the mix. And if we add Parks, maybe he becomes like a middle relief, high leverage, use more often sort of guy, rather than like a closer, because what is his stamina? He could be a stopper. But Kleit's been so good in that role that I don't know if we want to take him out of it. I don't know if we want to add a third stopper to the mix, so we'd probably do something where it's like middle relief, use more often, stopper secondary. I think that's what we would go with him. There's also Dan French, who is available from Kansas City. But he's also somebody I've had my eye on for a bit. I'd say he's like my second option here. Chad Biedenbender, somebody I've been aware of for many, many years now. He's a starter, though, but we could move him to the bullpen. Sincere Mikel, the Wolf. Is that No, this is a different guy. Okay. I don't know what I thought, who I thought that was. I don't know. I don't know who I thought this was, but the Wolfman is indeed here. Sincere Mikel. Not exactly the guy he used to be, but still decent enough. He could be an option to add into the mix here. So it's probably like Parks, then French, then Mikel. Maybe somebody like, who is Julio Aguilar? Also on Milwaukee? Maybe. Jake Van Orden could be interesting on San Francisco. Galindo from the Expos could be interesting. Although not really, he's not an expiring free agent, so maybe not him. First of all, let's see, so it's like Milwaukee, Kansas City, the Cubs, and San Francisco. So Milwaukee sucks. So Bubba Sparks is absolutely an option. Kansas City they're competitive. They're not going to trade their guys. They're also 8-2 in their last 10. So Milwaukee, I think, is our option. San Francisco, they're probably out of it 3-7 in their last 10. Horrible run differential. They're probably looking at that and being like, we don't think we're good. And then the Cubs are very much in it. So yeah, I think Bubba Sparks is our guy. Alrighty, so I offered Juan Estrada here, who is a decent quote-unquote catching prospect, more of a first baseman, as you can see here. He's listed as a catcher at the moment. I believe he's been catching. No, he's been mainly playing first base. He's been playing first base. So we could probably, we'll just leave it the way it is. But he was a scouting discovery of ours. He's developed a decent bit. You can see here he's really good at avoiding strikeouts, and he has some decent pop to his game. Walks a decent amount, does not strike out a ton. And like I said, has 27 home runs in high A ball. He had 14 and 24 doubles in A ball last year. He's got some decent personality. So I offered him for Bubba Parks, and they came back with like, hey, give us one of these like shitty older prospects you have. So like, who would make the most sense to get rid of here? Probably the 23-year-old. Just give it the 20. I think I could also just go like discuss trade again and give them that, but we'll just give them Juan Cotto. And yeah, we're just going to do that. Juan Estrada and Juan Cotto going to the Brewers for their expiring 34-year-old reliever who's having a down season. Boom. The fan interest increases noticeably. Love to see that. Love to see that. And Bubba Parks is now going to be a member of the Raleigh Oaks for the rest of the season. So yeah, here's what we're rocking with. We sent down Canis, opened up a spot, and Bubba Parks is now in that use more often middle relief role with a stopper secondary. And Carmona and Kleitz are the double barrel stopper. We might change this to high leverage, but we're going to leave it at stopper for now, see how that goes. And we'll see how it goes down the stretch here. I think that's going to be the only move we make. And we'll check back in here at the end of the season and see where our Raleigh Oaks are sitting. Well, welcome back to the end of the 2045 campaign, and as you can see, Wilson Morales has led the National League, the National League in ERA this season, the ERA crown, and that is the first time we've gotten that in this save, because, I don't know, first time we've gotten it, so we've gotten unlucky. Wilson Morales gets the ERA crown. I don't know what else to say. Especially since we've done it again. Third year in a row, folks. The third year in a row that we have won 100 games in a season. 108, 1012. We did not improve on 112, but still 100-plus games with 106 wins and 56 losses for us this season. We take a look at our current standings. We have a plus 285 run differential, ended the season on a 6-4 last 10. And we even actually were -4 on our Pythagorean, so we could have won even more games according to that. And we finished with the best run differential in baseball as we overtook the Angels, who finished with a 220. And they keep still getting screwed by their Pythagorean here, -9, projected to win 103 games. They win 94, don't even win their division. So then you take a look at the team page, and once again, it's looking like it has been all season. The year, basically, the whole time we were pretty good in April, rolled in May, pretty good in June, rolled in July, rolled in August, and pretty much rolled in September at 16-10. And then these numbers are looking like they have been pretty much all season. Lots of top twos. Some of these were ones, they're not twos, but it's whatever. Second in average, fourth in OBP, second in slugging, second in OPS, first in WAR. The second most runs scored in the National League this season. Wonder who scored more than us. The second most hits and extra base hits, second most home runs, and then we still continue not to really draw any walks this season, but it has not affected our OBP whatsoever, as we are still a top 5, top 4 team in OBP, and then still stealing bases, getting value out of the base running, and then we flip things over to the defensive side of things. Number 1 ERA, first in starters and bullpen ERA, and then first in runs allowed, WAR, hits allowed, opponent's average, BABIP, home runs allowed, strikeouts, defensive efficiency, and zone rating with a team plus 74.3. The only thing defensively that we were not number 1 in is base on balls. We just could not get that down anymore. I think weren't we like dead last in this at one point? I forget, but 13th, obviously not good, but it has not affected the rest of these numbers, so hopefully that does not come back to bite us here in the postseason. I never really look at this screen. I don't really use this screen to show the team, but we might as well take a look at it right now. You can see here, batting average leader was Luis Rodriguez. He hit 300 for us. He also led the team in home runs. Santiago Tapia, Rodriguez, Ramirez all had 90 ribbies, and then Vince Yates coming off the bench, playing every third day in center and every fifth day in left. Or right, rather, getting 82 ribbies in that role. Solid OBPs, despite us not walking a ton. Good slugging. OPS, only guy in the 900s was Rodriguez. He led the team in WAR as well. Tapi had a 4.9. Yates had a 4. Griego with a 3.8. Oliar with a 3.7. You know, let's just go to the normal thing that we usually look at here. We sort by WRC. We'll sort by WAR. Some of these guys actually... All right, once again, taking a look at the WAR here, we know that Rodriguez led the team, then Tapia, then Yates, then Griego, Olejar, Ramirez at a 3.6, Gusty at a 3.4, Amancio at a 2.7, Langarisa had a 2, Caffin had a 2, Pineda has a 2 if you round up. When it comes to WRC Plus, you can see here lots of triple digits. Goes all the way down to Langarisa if we sort there. That is 9 triple-digit WRC pluses on the team, and then Caffin and Pineda mainly being defensive players. Caffin has a little bit of offense to his game, but did end up being pretty decent defensively, got a ZR up to a 6. And he's had a tendency to pop off in the postseason a little bit here. Hopefully that happens this season. If we sort by doubles, 30 doubles for both Rodriguez and Griego. Caffin, Ramirez, Langarisa, and Tapia all just barely not 30 doubles. 25 for Gusty, 22 for Olejar. When it comes to home runs, it's Rodriguez with 30, Amancio with 29, Yates with 28, 27 for Ramirez, 20-plus home runs for 6 players on the team, and then Pineda finished with 19. When it comes to ribbies, we had 3 guys with 90, Yates with 82, and then Griego and Amancio in the 70s. Runs scored, that was Ramirez with 101. He also led the team with 57 stolen bases. Remember, folks, Juan Ramirez is a first baseman, and he's out here swiping 57 bags in a season, hitting 27 home runs, hitting 29 doubles, driving in 92 runs, scoring 100-plus runs. The guy is incredible. Hopefully he wins. Actually, he won 3 straight Gold Gloves. Or not 3 straight, but he has... Yeah, not 3 straight, but he has 3, so maybe he'll win his 4th this season. He did put up a 5 ZR at first base. Hopefully that is enough. We did have Olejar and Gusty and Langarisa all with double-digit walk rates, but that still wasn't enough, apparently, to get our walks in the out of the top, bottom teams in the league. Still had a decent bunch of OBPs on the team. We still had good slugging, obviously. Stolen bases, obviously that was Ramirez, but then Griego swiped 47 behind him. Gusty swiped 39, Tapia 33, Rodriguez 28. A lot of stolen bases for the guys. ZR here, this is not the total ZR because it takes into account, for example, I'll show, here, you can see here he's played 3 games at shortstop for whatever reason. It's going to take that 0.5 out of this 13 ZR. So if you look here, he has a 12.5. But I'm more interested in what their ZRs were at the positions they actually played the whole year, like Griego. Says 10.9 there, but he had 11.8 in right field. He just got spotted a couple games in desperate situations in other positions, so that's taking out of his right field ZR. While on the pitching side of things, we have ourselves Luis Carmona. How often are you going to see the back end of the bullpen guy lead a pitching staff in WAR? Well, that is exactly what happened here this year. Luis Carmona continues to be an absolute menace. What can you possibly even say about this guy? He is by far my favorite reliever I've ever had in a series or any save ever. I cannot remember any reliever I've ever had who has been this good. 80 great stuff still, 75 great home runs allowed, 80 great fastball, 80 great curveball, and he just goes out there and just straight dominates people. 139 innings this season, a 6.2 WAR, a 276 ERA plus, a 31 FIP minus. Once again, a 30-plus K-minus walk with a 36.2 this year, and once again, a 40-plus strikeout rate for him, and a sub-10 walk rate, and a sub-1. This is honestly the most impressive part, is that he's putting up these strikeout numbers every year while consistently being a 0.5-ish home run per 9 guy. Just truly incredible stuff from Luis Carmona. And then taking a look at the rest of the top WAR getters here, Santiago Mendoza put up a 3.2 WAR for us this year, 4.6 R WAR, solid in the rotation once again. He continues to make that transition from the bullpen and be very, very solid in that role. Otonio Broadhead, in his first stint in the big leagues this year, the 22-year-old two-way player, was not good offensively this season. You can see here, got 145 plate appearances, did not really do anything. He was okay-ish at the plate, but nothing where you want him to be your everyday DH in an Ohtani sort of role. But, still valuable and was a very good pitcher. He started the year in the bullpen. As you can see, he was fine-ish, got a bit lucky with the ERA plus, gave up too many home runs, and then when he went to the starting rotation, he was just this is where I'm meant to be, and just turned on a switch and just tore it up. 18 starts, 3.3 WAR, really good ERA plus and FIP minus, really, really solid. We've got ourselves another absolute stud in the rotation here long term. Wilson Morales, as we know, led the league in ERA this season with a 2.65, 3 WAR, 6.5 R-WAR, had the best BABIP as well in the league. Love to see it. He continues to be the most successful pitcher in Raleigh Oaks history. Jameer Kleitz, really good in a stopper role for us this season, 2.7 WAR, really good ERA plus and FIP minus, struck out a bunch of guys, does not walk a bunch of guys, does not give up a bunch of home runs, in 98 2/3 innings pitched out of the bullpen. Josh Dickerson coming over from the Boston Red Sox this offseason, he was pretty solid as well. 2 WAR, basically what I expected him to be doing for us, and he just does what I expected. So we love to see that. Dusty Powell was solid in his role. Jake Graham got injured a bunch, but he was still decent when he did pitch here, you could see. Kurt Holmes was like fine-ish in his role. Juan Canis actually came up and down. He was another guy who, if we sort by his splits here for the major leagues, you can see as a reliever, he was really not good, but once he moved to the rotation, because of some injuries, he had 7 starts, and he was really good. Another one of these guys who just can't figure it out in the pen like Broadhead, but he's really good as a starting rotation member, so we'll have to see what the rotation's going to look like here in the postseason, because obviously we're not going to run a 5-man. I would imagine it's probably going to be something like Morales, Mendoza, Broadhead, and then Dickerson. And then maybe we just roll the dice and have Canis in the bullpen and see how he does. Because I do think that Morales, Mendoza, Broadhead, and Dickerson is our best 4. As we continue looking at the other guys, we have Bubba Parks, who came over in that deal from Milwaukee. Bubba Sparks here. I believe he got his milestone number of saves here, which I don't have in my view. Basic pitching stats. Yeah, he got save 400 with the Raleigh Oaks. You can see he got 7 saves with us. 0.73 ERA as we go back to the pitcher ideal tab here. Just was really, really good with us here, as opposed to his struggling time in Milwaukee to end his time there. But we're excited to see what he can do in the postseason for us. Maybe get him a ring. Mike Eberth in a very avoid high leverage role the whole season. Comes up at age 22 and was just pretty damn good. Struck out a decent amount of guys. He was solid. Like I said, very, very low leverage role, but he was definitely good in that role. Next year, we'll probably bump him up into a regular middle relief and not avoid high leverage. And then Moelvi Mullins here, he came up, as I said he was going to, and he was really good. 16 innings pitched, good ERA plus and FIP minus, good numbers across the board. He's going to be on the postseason roster here as one of our pitchers in the postseason. And then Mike Cincamani, really disappointing year for him. You take a look at his career numbers here. He was just an absolute stud for us in the rotation. Constantly like 160, 170, 183 innings, 3 WAR, 3.5, 4.5, and then this offseason he gets an extension, and his scouting numbers go down, and all of a sudden he's not even good as a reliever. So really, really disappointing year for him. His just minuses across the board. He's a 45 as a starter now. Barely can. His numbers are his ratings are like decent, but he just was not good this season for us for whatever reason. I'm sure he'll be on the postseason roster because I don't think we have a better option right now, especially since someone like Chad Josephat was also poor for us in the bullpen this season after coming off a 3 WAR. He jumped down and just did not do anything for us. We're obviously not going to go with a Roscoe in the playoffs because I just don't trust this control. And then the other guys who were on the 40-man and not on the playoff roster are someone like Luis Banazal, who is a really good starter in AAA but did not pitch at all in the big leagues, and we just don't trust this home run allowed in the postseason. And then Bob Durham, another good starting pitcher in AAA, but I don't really think he's like anything too great. He's more of a depth piece for us. We could go with Juan Trujillo possibly, who came up at the end of the season and was pretty decent in a very, very limited role, but I don't know if I want to go with him over Cincamani. Maybe we do, maybe we don't, but I think for now we're going to leave Cincamani at least for the first round. And here you have what the playoff bracket looks like. Obviously, we had the first round bye. So did the Toronto Blue Jays as they won the Great Lakes Division. While in the American League side of things, the Yankees won the Metro and the D-backs won the Pacific. We will see who each team plays next time.